Now, Oando PLC's unaudited financial results for the 9 months ended September 30th, 2025 reflects a period of consolidation, structural strengthening and renewed operational momentum. The group delivered significant production growth following the full integration of the NAOC JV assets, advancing its capital restructuring program and achieving major milestones in resolving legacy receivables. Group Chief Executive Oando PLC Wale Tinubu stated, and I quote, "In the first 9 months of 2025, we consolidated the gains achieved following our acquisition of NAOC's asset last year. Our assumption of operatorship has been transformational, granting us the agility to act decisively and execute with precision in driving production growth and operational efficiency." Well, joining me now to discuss this in more detail is Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu. Mr. Chika, always great. It's been so long. Very well, thank you. Great to see you. Very well. And yourself? Good to see you. All right, great news here. Let's begin with key highlights from Oando's 9M 2025 performance. What should we know?
Okay, I mean, when in, I think, August 22nd, 2024, Oando succeeded in the acquisition of NAOC. We celebrated that achievement and we said, however, that should be the beginning. And the road in front was what's critical. And it will depend on how Oando tries consolidates its assets with the assets of NAOC, Nigerian Ajipoi Company. And then also how before they were 20% holder in the assets, now moved up to 40%, which means, and they came into operatorship, which means they are now running day to day. And so that will impact on how they will run the assets. And so a year down the line, I'm happy to report that Oando has done, is on that path now. They've started very well. And as you said, the reports are in, and then we'll celebrate that. On the basis of the core operations of the company, we'll see that there was 59% growth on increase in production on barrel of oil equivalent to about 38,000 barrels a day. And that's substantial because of the fact of where they're coming from and successfully managing the operations with NAOC. And so a major other issue that happened here was the profit after tax. It grew to about 164% to about 201 billion. On the back of this production growth, in addition to that also, they were able to, as I was saying in the next 1 minute, resolve some legacy problems they had in the past. Principal, recover some receivables they were having outstanding, resolve some legacy issues, legacy issues they have had, and account payables they were due, they were able to negotiate longer terms for them, which released liquidity for them. So working over the assets, remember the now operator, and they handle community relations very well, that gave some salutary impact to the growth in their production volumes, and then which impacted their profit before and after tax. Right. And so that has the way it has been. And so revenues, even though it dropped, gross revenues even dropped by about 20% from 3.1 trillion to 2.54 trillion. Yeah. We could account for that because one segment of the business of Oando is trading in crude and trading in white products like PMX and diesel. But remember that what was celebrated in Nigeria now is Dangote Refinery. So Dangote Refinery coming to the country, led to the reduction in production of those products. And Oando traded less in those white products. But crude volumes moved higher. So the sum total of all those is what led to the growth in their profit after tax.
Right, certainly quite impressive, as you mentioned. Expectation-wise, what would Oando's strategic priorities for the remainder of the year be then?
Continue to work on the assets, continue to consolidate on the assets. They spend about almost 80 billion naira on capital commitments so far in the year. They're going to push in more to work on the assets. Luckily, they have more uptime in production. And then, a lot of other new technology in production that will enable them around the year to the fullest and to meet their end-of-year targets. As I said before, some people were worried about how would they integrate, how would they work together with the NAOC assets. Yeah. But that has successfully been done. And it's for Oando now to continue to run that. Being the natives has helped them to manage the communities. So all the issues of production shut down have been eliminated. And so that will help them run the year to the fullest to meet the end of year targets.
All right. So, I mean, it's a good expectation. It's one what of course, expect to have this momentum going. As we know, Oando was awarded a 45% operatorship stake in Angola's Kwanza Basin. What should we know about the status of these operations as we speak?
That is in process now. For them, again, hedging their risks, taking the risks away from one country, Nigeria, to other African countries, so that negative correlate their production. That is being processed now. They're working on their joint venture agreements and production volumes, yeah.
Okay, and speaking of production volumes, what's the full-year production target? It's great to embrace this information, but numbers-wise, what expectations do they have for production?
They're aiming for 40,000 barrels per day by the end of the year, and hopefully they will achieve it on the path to achieving that.
All right, I mean, that's good to know. Now, of course, questions, the question mark, why did PMS trading stop?
We celebrate Nigeria, we celebrate Dangote refinery. Remember, even before now, Nigeria used to be one of the largest, if not the largest importer of PMS, petrol, in Africa. And in South Africa has taken over from us now. But with the Dangote refinery coming on stream, that segment of the business has gone down. And so Oando has directed its energy now into crude trading. And so that's what led to that. So strategically, that segment of the business is no longer profitable for them because the opportunities don't exist again. You recall also that Dangote moved their production from 650, the capacity from 650,000 barrels per day to about 1.4 million barrels per day. Again, that expands their capacity to provide for Nigeria in that segment.
Right, so a realistic strategy is what it would be.
Yeah, proper exit strategy to focus on their core now, which is crude oil trading, and then, of course, the crude oil production. Of course, you know that Oando has other complementary businesses. They have Oando Clean Energy, and they have Oando Mining. Still a little in a embryo stage, but they're all contributing towards the growth in the business of Oando.
Right. I mean, talking about growth, there's been quite a number of developments. I mean, we also know that Oando marked its entry into the Caribbean downstream market recently. Let's talk about that a little bit more. What's the significance of the Trinidad and Tobago refinery project?
Because of the fact that it will enable them expand their trading capacity, especially in the Caribbean. Remember that Africa is expanding its reach now to reaching out to borders in the Caribbean area. So Oando is leading from the front to assist in that expansion. So that foray will help them diversify their risks and help them, move more products to that area and the opportunity to trade more in crude from that market.
Right, and you also spoke about developments on the front of clean energy and mining, which is always laudable and very welcome. But let's talk about update on share distribution. Of course, I talked about question marks. So is there anything you could share with us about that?
Interestingly, what happened is that Oando had not been paying dividends. They've not been paying dividends. So, but they said, we need to make our shareholders happy. We need to celebrate our shareholders who have been, with us for a long time now. So they decided to, issue some shares to them in lieu of cash dividends. And so that's what has happened. So the first tranche has gone. Second one will be done for those who are registered by end of July 2025 to be distributed by next year 2026. And shareholders will get that. And it's a way of saying thank you to the shareholders. And for me, as a shareholder, or those who are shareholders, is to be able to look at the direction of the company, look at the growth phase of the company. And as I said before, in one of my analyses, I said the fundamentals are right for the company. The only way the company can go now is the trajectory is up. With the integration of now assets into the operations, with the assuming of operatorship, the only thing that can happen now is that the productions will go up. And as I've seen already, even this with 9 months, with the growth, about 6% growth in the production, that or more, and everything will bottom out to the increased profitability for the company.
All right, so it's a great time to be an Oando shareholder, isn't it? You're enjoying Mr. Chika, literally. All right, if you joined us midway, I've been chatting with Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu. Always a pleasure to have you here. And of course, we'll be seeing you again very soon.
Thank you, Abby.
All right, then have a lovely day.